Hi everyone, this is Eagle News. I am Rose Papa Angeles in Washington. It's Saturday, August 6, 2022, here in the nation's capital. The week's recap begins now. Signaling the seriousness and urgency of responding to the ongoing monkeypox virus in the U.S., the Health and Human Services Department declares monkeypox a public health emergency. Here in Washington, D.C., more vaccination sites have opened as the district encourages residents to pre-register to get inoculated once eligible against the disease. Rosal Feria reports.
Here in Washington, D.C., another monkeypox vaccination clinic is opening. D.C. Health Department encourages residents to continue pre-registering for a monkeypox vaccination appointment. With 3 sites now open, residents are able to choose which one they want to visit. On Saturday, July 23, D.C. Health's new single-dose strategy allowed for more than 5,000 vaccination appointments to be offered to eligible residents. Monkeypox vaccinations are confidential, and district residents can pre-register for monkeypox vaccination appointments by visiting preventmonkeypox.dc.gov. All residents are invited to pre-register for a vaccination appointment, and those who are not currently eligible will be contacted if eligibility changes and appointments are available. Rosal Feria, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams applauds the Biden administration for addressing the spread of monkeypox here in the country. Almost a week before the federal government did so, New York City already declared monkeypox as a public health emergency. Joanne Soriano has the report from New York.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams and the city's Department of Health and Mental Hygiene Commissioner declared a public health emergency due to the monkeypox outbreak. Officials say New York City is currently the epicenter of monkeypox infections in the U.S. The declaration will allow the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to amend provisions of the health code to help slow the spread of monkeypox. The mayor's office estimates that approximately 150,000 New Yorkers may currently be at risk for monkeypox exposure, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention report, updated on August 4th. New York State is leading the number of confirmed monkeypox cases at 1,748. California is second at 826. In the U.S., confirmed monkeypox cases stand at 7,102 as of August 4th. Joanne Soriano, New York, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Starting tomorrow, August 7th, till Wednesday, August 10th, hundreds of public health professionals from across the globe will convene in Atlanta to discuss the latest information about infectious diseases. This during a time when the COVID-19 pandemic still lingers and a monkeypox outbreak just sounded the alarm for a public health emergency. Jeff Sanidad reports.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, and the Task Force for Global Health will co-host in person the 11th International Conference on Emerging Infectious Diseases, or ICEID. The conference will run from August 7 to 10, 2022 at the Hyatt Regency Atlanta Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. Held every 3 years, the conference brings together more than 1,500 public health professionals from around the world to exchange the latest information on issues affecting the emergence, spread, and control of infectious diseases. The 3-day program includes plenary and panel sessions with invited speakers, oral abstract and poster presentations, and multiple scientific and public health exhibitors. These sessions will all focus on emerging and re-emerging infections. Selected oral presentations include how mask wearing varies across different settings, turning farmers into disease detectives, and a new paradigm for pandemic preparedness. Jeff Sanidad, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Dealing with another unprecedented health crisis, the White House announces 2 new strategies addressing the country's youth mental state. Krisan Fragata has the details.
According to the U.S. Department of Education, at present, more than 40% of teenagers state that they struggle with persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness. More than half of parents and caregivers express concern over their children's mental well-being. To address the crisis, the Biden-Harris administration announces 2 new actions to strengthen school-based mental health services and address the youth mental health crisis. 1. By awarding the first of nearly $300 million through the fiscal year 2022 bipartisan omnibus agreement to expand access to mental health services in schools. Second, by encouraging governors to invest more in school-based mental health services. The Education Department says even before the pandemic, rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts among youth have been trending upward. The pandemic has exacerbated those issues, disrupting learning, relationships, and routines, and increasing isolation, especially among the nation's young people. President Joe Biden puts forward a comprehensive national strategy to tackle the unprecedented mental health crisis. He calls for a major transformation in how mental health is understood, accessed, treated, and integrated in and out of healthcare settings. Kristen Fargada, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In other news, incumbent governor of Papua New Guinea's capital says he is not a magician after being accused of ballot tampering in the recent national elections. Eco Hortaleza Quinola reports on this week's Oceania at a Glance.
Opposing candidates and scrutiners questioned incumbent Governor Powes Parkop's almost 9,000 lead in the election's latest count. The delays, attacks, and conflicts has made Parkop furious. His rivals throw allegations of cheating and managed to remove Parkop's executive secretary, Dr. Newton Albert, as his scrutineer from the counting center.
I am leading by 8,000 or close to 9,000. Why would I go and tamper with records or with tallies? I want to call on these rival candidates. They should come to terms. And if you have not got the support and have not got the vote, how can Governor Powes Parkop go inside the ballot box and change the ballot papers? How will I do that? I must be a magician, or I must have powers like, David Copperfield, or that magician who levitate. I wish I had that powers too. Yeah. I could do anything and everything. But I am not a magician. The people have voted. Their ballot and their verdict is in there. It's for us to count it and accept it. If you are not happy, you've got a court of dispute.
Parkop says it is not in his character to tamper ballots nor rig the election. He calls on the National Electoral Commission to be decisive and not be swayed by detractors who want to unseat him.
Altogether, this is my 6th election. And I want to say very clear from the outset that I've never engaged in this type of activities that I've been accused of, especially rigging election, tampering with ballots, bringing in illegal ballots. That's something totally out of character, out of my value system, out of what I have stood for, and out of my practice. So to be subjected to all these allegations, especially my rivals, since the counting started, they've been throwing all sort of claims and allegations. Many of them very defamatory, but I have restrained myself because I'm the incumbent. And as the incumbent, all of them want to unseat me. Come to the view that there is a conspiracy going on, not by me, but by some of my rivals to tamper with the records, so that it creates this impression that something is wrong.
The country hopes for a peaceful and honest end to the election process, with many hoping for the return of writs and proclamation of winners the soonest possible time. Eco Hortaleza Quinola, Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
In today's Mind Your Business, Bobby Soriano reports on the latest international trade numbers coming out of the United States.
American exports had another record month in June, while American imports have cooled off, leading to a narrowing of the U.S. trade gap for the third consecutive month. According to the latest official data from the U.S. Commerce Department, goods and services exports rose by $4.3 billion last month to $260.8 billion, topping the prior record set in May, while imports fell by $1 billion. That trimmed the U.S. trade deficit by 6.2% to $79.6 billion, the data showed. Sales of U.S. goods being exported or sent abroad were boosted by gold, natural gas, aircraft, foods, and animal feed. Petroleum exports were also the highest on record at $29.1 billion. The record levels of exports in international trade have been a direct result of the war in Ukraine, with countries looking for alternatives to Russian energy and alternatives to Ukraine's own exports, which have been cut by more than half due to the ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, goods and services coming into the United States have cooled off from their meteoric rise since pandemic restrictions lessened halfway through last year, with the imports of autos and auto parts falling sharply in recent months. Companies had initially rushed to replenish depleted inventories amid strong demand from American shoppers, but inflation has led to that demand calming down as many families are pulling back on the purchasing of unnecessary goods. Economists expect that the trade gap will continue to narrow in the second half of 2022 as consumer sentiment remains negative in the sight of stubborn inflation. Bobby Soriano, New York, New York, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
A new study suggests that simple exercise routines as easy as light walking may help adult brains with mild memory problems. To tell us more, here's David Oria on Health is Wealth.
According to the Alzheimer's Association, previous research has found that regular physical activity of any sort may play a role in reducing damaging inflammation and increasing blood flow to the brain. As a result, healthcare providers have advised physical activity to help keep a brain healthy. New research may be bringing to light that even simple exercise routines, such as stretching and light walking, may help older Americans with mild memory problems. This new study conducted at the Wake Forest School of Medicine is especially intriguing. Research has recruited about 300 sedentary older adults with very mild memory changes, also called mild cognitive impairment, or MCI. It's a condition that is sometimes, but not always, a precursor to Alzheimer's. Half were assigned to aerobic exercises, and the rest stretching and balance routines that only modestly raised their heart rates. After a year, cognitive testing did not worsen, and brain scans did not show the shrinkage that typically accompanies worsening memory. In comparison to other long-term studies, similar MCI patients without exercise experienced a significant cognitive decline over a year. These findings speak to the call of medical professionals that exercise needs to be part of the prevention strategies for elderly at risk. So especially now, recent times have left many older members of our community vulnerable due to social isolation, increasing their risk of memory issues. Although more data needs to be collected around this topic, this provides a positive outlook on how physical activity and exercise can help improve cognitive function for those at risk. David Oria, Health is Wealth, Eagle News.
Meanwhile, mosquitoes are out and about as their season peaks in the summer months. This does not mean we cannot enjoy the outdoors. In Pennsylvania, residents are given tips on how to fight the bite. Myla Simbulan reports.
Summertime is for swimming pools and lemonade, not for mosquito bites and diseases like West Nile virus. The Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, or DEP, encourages residents to fight the bite and protect themselves. One human case of West Nile virus, or WNV, has already been reported in Pennsylvania this year. Symptoms of WNV in humans are typically like those of a mild flu. The virus, however, can lead to a more serious condition that includes swelling of the brain, muscle convulsions, coma paralysis, and death. Things people can do to protect themselves from the mosquitoes include eliminating standing stagnant water near your home, keeping gutters clean of debris, wearing insect repellent or long sleeves when mosquitoes are active, usually around dawn and dusk, repairing window screens to prevent mosquitoes from entering your home, cleaning up litter in your neighborhood. A single cap from a plastic bottle can be home to 300 mosquito eggs. Using commonly sold insect repellents like those using DEET, picaridin, or other EPA-registered repellents can also cut down on mosquito bites and possible exposure to the virus. Wearing long pants and sleeves are also an important way to cut down on possible exposure to mosquitoes. Since DEP first began monitoring for the virus in year 2000, there have been 48 fatal cases of West Nile virus here in Pennsylvania. Myla Simbulan, Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Eagle News. We'll live in extraordinary times.
In Huntington Beach, California, professional surfers take the plunge at the 2022 Vans US Open of Surfing. Also featured at this free 9-day event are BMX and skateboard competitions, food and prize giveaways, and an assortment of activities for the family. Our Los Angeles team was on the scene on the second day of the US Open of Surfing. Here are Alan and Eva Basiyahe on this week's ABC Sports International.
Events at the beach are steadily coming back, this in light of the receding tide of COVID-19 restrictions.
And after a break due to the pandemic, one of the competitions returning to make waves is the Vans US Open of Surfing.
The Vans US Open of Surfing, that's what really makes this event unique. You've got surfing, skateboarding, and BMX. It's super cross-generational. It's a 9-day event, and we're anticipating, close to 2019 numbers pre-COVID. So we're looking at about 500,000 people that we're going to be hosting over the 9 days. I would definitely plan to come early, catch surfing, get to experience that time on the sand and all the professional surfers that you see on the World Championship Tour and on the World Qualifying Series. Participate in some games out here, and then make your way over to the Vans Skate Park. Watch some of the BMX and skateboarding competitions. There's something for everyone. So if you miss something on the first day, come back the second day. I guarantee you there's going to be something for you to experience.
You're here at the Vans US Open of Surfing, where, hey, we've been gone for 2 years because of COVID, but we're excited to be back here 2022. My family, my father started Vans in 1966, and we're near Costa Mesa where our home offices are, but so happy to have everybody from the Philippines see what we're doing out here with surfing and skateboarding and BMX. We actually manufacture some of our shoes in the Philippines these days. So Vans is super proud to say hello to everybody all over the world. Over here, starting in about 15 minutes, I get to cook. And every day I get to barbecue. So yesterday was 1,400 hot dogs and 450 sliders. Same will happen today because we got a lot of crowd that'll be coming out here. But that's, again, free. Just thanking everybody for coming out. We have a lot of games where we give hats and wallets and bandanas away and just have the kids have a great time. We have art over this way. You can see them shaping surfboards, fixing wetsuits. So there's something for everybody in the family. We even have a music area where people come in and just grab guitars, drums, bass guitars, regular guitars, and just jam with each other.
So they wanted you to paint something to do with lemon. So they give us a lemon right here for visual representation. They give us a lemonade. I started painting a lemon that's skating, and then the little wheels on the skateboard are lemons. So I was gonna caption it, when life gives you lemons, you skate them.
So I'm not really an artist, but the idea behind it is you have a wave and he's surfing, the lemon man surfing the wave, and then you have little lemon fish and stuff. So good idea. We'll see if it turns out that way.
Everybody down here has a really chill vibe to them. There's music going on. We have just all sorts of events for everybody of all ages.
You got the surfers, the people on the bikes, the skateboarding, the dogs, the animals, the volleyballs. There's just all sorts of things to see from all ages, from little kids to adults to seniors. It's a fun place and different lifestyles. So many different lifestyles down here.
Interestingly, we were told that a lightning strike is one occurrence that could potentially suspend water and beach activities.
Thankfully, at this point in time, there isn't a single nimbus cloud in the sky.
Eva and Alan, Huntington Beach, California. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Seeking to boost electric vehicle charging infrastructure and expand its network in the state, Nevada hopes to receive $38 million in federal funds. In Las Vegas, Anna Cui reports on this week's Down to Earth.
Nevada recently submitted a comprehensive plan to the U.S. Joint Office of Energy and Transportation to secure $38 million in federal funds to boost the state's electric vehicle charging infrastructure. The future of transportation in Nevada is electric, said by Governor Steve Sisolak. He feels it's an important part of the fight against climate change. Once funding gets approved, the Nevada Department of Transportation will receive more than $38 million over the next 5 years through the bipartisan infrastructure law that's allowing the state to expand on the existing Nevada Electric Highway program. That's a plan that's a collaboration among multiple state agencies and partners that actually started back in 2015. Now, phase 1 of that plan has since been completed, which was to build EV charging infrastructure along U.S. Highway 95. This plan also included the Regional Electric Vehicle Plan for the West, or what they're calling REV West, and that's participated by 8 states, including Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, of course Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. The governors from the states signed an agreement to establish a framework for creating an Intermountain West EV corridor network. And the hope for that is to lessen range anxiety. So when people are driving out, even just across the West, they feel better knowing that there are charging stations along the way. But the goal of local officials, with this plan is not only to build EV charging stations along highways, but also around the city. Nowadays, we see many charging stations at the malls, gas stations, even at the different hotel properties here in Las Vegas. And also, they want to expand that in the rural parts of the state, again, supporting the push to transform the transportation industry. More charging stations could encourage more people to switch to electric cars, thereby reducing greenhouse gas emissions. It's a vital part in Nevada's overall fight against climate change, as well as the state's plan for cleaner energy, better air quality, and maintaining sustainability. Now, to date, the region of Las Vegas, Henderson Paradise in southern Nevada has 807 public EV charging stations, 135 of which are free, according to PlugShare.com. Anna Cui, Las Vegas, Nevada, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
California is hoping to head off a looming water shortage in the state. As Meg Australia reports, the state's governor is resurrecting a plan to move water from the northern part of the state to parched regions in the south. Meg?
The Delta Conveyance is a proposed 45-mile or 72-kilometer tunnel. It would divert water from the Sacramento River and San Joaquin Delta to the Bay Area, Los Angeles, and southern farming communities. The proposal has been a political football that has been kicked around 1965. Governor Gavin Newsom is pitching it again, the 5th time since it was first proposed. While the state's Water Resources Department is promoting the tunnel, environmentalists are less than enthused. They say construction will affect the migration of salmon and other species. Farmers in the north fear their land will be left with saline soil after the fresh water is diverted from the region. Others are skeptical when the $16 billion price tag is mentioned. And the timelines are far off in the distance. The earliest ground could be broken for the project is 2028, 6 years from now. With the opposition to the project, Newsom may find getting its approval will be much like trying to get water to run uphill. Mex Australia, Los Angeles, Eagle News, we live in extraordinary times.
It is dubbed as the little city with a big heart and hailed as the barbecue capital of Texas. Today, we get a glimpse of the lovely city of Lockhart as Nanita Manoes take us on a quick tour where we discover a rare museum that gives keeping an eye on the clock a new meaning. Here's Color My World.
Lockhart is best known as the barbecue capital of Texas and home to some of the most famous barbecue joints in the Lone Star State. But beyond the barbecue, Lockhart is a charming small town with a rich history. Beautiful structures such as the Caldwell County Courthouse and small but adorable museums such as the Southwest Museum of Clocks and Watches.
My name is Brittany with the Southwest Clock and Watch Museum in Lockhart, Texas. We welcome you to the museum and we would like to show you some of our antique clocks and watches. We are one of the only clock and horology museums in the lower part of the United States. So come to Lockhart, Texas for some barbecue and learn a little bit about time. So this is one of our special pieces. This came out of the P.T. Barnum collection from the Barnum and Bailey Circus. This clock is over 200 years old. And so this is a fun clock to watch. Now I'm gonna go ahead and wind it from the side and then you'll be able to watch the little people up above.
My name is Lazarus Luke Dugas. Today I visited the Clock Museum because I'm very interested in historical things and also clocks. I've been into collecting antiques and vintage things and also things that are local from Lockhart and surrounding towns. We need to preserve history and keep it alive, especially local history, to keep the town thriving and maintenance on things. I would like for people to become interested in it because I think it's very, very important. These timepieces need to be preserved. Checking the time is not as it used to be. You know, you just check your phone, but I think there's a certain art in clocks that needs to be remembered and embraced.
And quoting from the Lockhart Chamber of Commerce, come for the barbecue and antiques, but stick around for the history and small-town hospitality that Lockhart has to offer. Anita Manawis, Lockhart, Texas, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Adding Lockhart to my places to visit list for this year. Before we let you go, let us leave you with snapshots of this sunflower field in McKee Bescher's Wildlife Management Area in Poolesville, Maryland that is abloom. Locals sneak in some time to enjoy this hidden delight just a few miles away from the nation's capital. Lovely sunflowers. Thank you all for joining us again. If there are stories or topics you want us to share with you, just comment below. View, like, share our other shows, City Limits with Alan Basiahe, Connected with Dr. David. Take a seat and join us with Anaqui, Plate Date with Mike Hudson and friends, plus Journey, Stories of Filipinos in Canada with Kathleen Cruz. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Eagle News Live. I am Rose Papa Angeles. We'll live in extraordinary times. Happy weekend, everyone!